man, it's 70 degrees outside with the ZX-4RR. I've got so many comments since owning this bike in my short-term ownership. I only have just a few months of experience on it, 500 or so miles. Honestly, I wish I could ride it every day. You guys know my job isn't riding motorcycles. I don't commute to work. I review cars for a living, and this is my guilty passion outside of cars is motorcycles. But I've got so many comments since owning this bike. You're stupid. Why did you buy this bike over the ZX-6R, the 636? The true super sport, I guess you could say. Why did I get this when it cost so close? We're gonna break that down. I got about 5 topics today. I might think of more along the way, but I got 5 topics today on why this bike overall is a better choice for me, but I still believe the ZX-6R is probably a better bang for your buck. Just depends who you are, what you want, what you need. So with that being said, let's get into it. Alright, let's safely make our way through the abandoned bank. Oh man, so good to be out on this bike. The weather, my gosh, the weather, guys, is to die for right now. And this is why people from all around the world come to Florida this time of year. Oh my gosh. Do I regret getting this over the ZX4, or sorry, do I regret the ZX4RR instead of the 636? Absolutely not. But let's start with price, because that's where this conversation has to begin. The ZX4RR is about $9,700. However, in America, most of you guys know it's nerfed from the factory due to California's amazing sound quality or sound emitting laws and their emission laws. This bike has to get a flash, and that costs about $300. I got mine through V-Cycle Nut, but there are tons of good motorcycle flashers out there. Two Wheel Dyno Works. There's just so many more. I can't even. I've listed them all before. My Grom has DHM. I wouldn't be surprised if DHM has a tune for this bike. But anyways, so that increases the price an extra $300. Shall I go left here? Oh nope. Well, I missed. Oh, one of my favorite cars of all time. Go and check out my main review or my main channel, Kirk Rifles, where I review cars for a living, and LC500 was my favorite car that I reviewed in 2024. It is so good, especially the convertible for where I live. Alright, so back to the price. About $10,000 for this bike. Obviously a little bit more if you are getting the KRT. This is a 40th anniversary edition, which costs a little bit more, or a little bit, at the time when I bought it, cost a little bit more. Kawasaki has reduced the price on this bike because they know price competitive wise, it's not the best bang for your buck. So they have reduced the price, and it helps for sure, but it's such a niche bike. It's a terrible buy when you look at the ZX-6R. The ZX-6R, you could say maybe a bit of better built bike, maybe because I think the ZX-6R, the 636, is made in Japan. This is made in, I think, Thailand. I mean, the build quality on this was a lot better than my MT-09, and I think my MT-09 was built in Japan. So whatever you want to believe. But yeah, ABS to ABS, there's about a $3,000 difference between these two bikes, but it's actually less once you factor in getting a flash. I want to say it came out to be about $2,400 is all that the ZX-6R fetches. And so in that regard, this bike is not a good buy, because I guess that leads on to the next thing, is the power. The power of this bike. Even after you get it flashed, is way down on power compared to the ZX-6R. The ZX-6R is about 128 horsepower. at the crank, so maybe 110 horsepower or something at the wheel. This is about 75 horsepower, and that might be at the crank. And this does have ram air, so it can pick up a little bit more power the faster you go. But yeah, I mean, what is that, let's just say it's a 40 horsepower difference. It could be more. That's a lot of horsepower you're giving up for only, I mean, that's a lot of horsepower to be gained for about 2,400 bucks. All right, so do I need 40 more horsepower than this bike has? No, I had an MT-09 before this, which has similar power to 636, and that was too much power for me for the streets. I just couldn't use it ever. And if you did in that bike, you're popping wheelies half the time. So this power, around 80 horsepower, 70 horsepower, whatever this bike makes, it's more suitable for the streets, in my opinion, more suitable for my sort of style of riding. And I don't ever think I need more power than this. If I was taking this on the highway all the time, I would have a touring bike with more torque, but yeah, that's totally a different conversation. This video is about the ZX-6R, and yeah, if you feel like you need all that extra power, I don't blame you, but you're not going to get this. You have a QuickShifter up and down on the ZX-4RR, not the single R. There is no QuickShifter on that, so I don't really recommend the ZX-4 for most people. If you guys want to see a video on the ZX-4R versus the ZX-4RR, let me know. But the ZX-6R only has a QuickShifter on the way up, if I remember correctly, which I feel like that's not where you want your QuickShifter. If you're really pushing your bike, you really don't need to clutch your shifts. All right, I'll show you. There's 6, no clutch. You just lay off the gas and you upshift on the shifter, and you don't really need a QuickShifter. If I'm flying through the gears, even on my Grom, like, you don't need to use your clutch. All right, so yes, that's a QuickShifter on the way up. On the ZX-6R, but not on the way down, and that's where I feel like it's the most valuable. Oh, and that really makes this bike so much more enjoyable, the down QuickShifter, because this thing has shit torque. Like, twisting the throttle, nothing really happens here. Like, it's kind of funny, but it's when you there's no way that dude saw me. It's when you know, triple downshift and then go, oh, fuck yeah, hell yeah, baby. So there's more engagement to be had here, I would say, on the normal streets compared to a ZX-6R, just because of the QuickShifter, and because I have such a little power compared to the ZX-6R that I have to use my gears more. And some people might think that's well, you have to do more work on this bike, you have to be in the right power band, but that, to me, that's why I ride bikes, to be more in contact with the machine, a better relationship with the machine, stretching its legs a lot. And I guess I can circle back to the power, since I cleared up the QuickShifter, is that 110-ish horsepower to the wheel. Well, you're gonna get going really fast. The acceleration is insane. This bike does 0 to 60, I don't know, it depends if you really want to launch it, but I would say consistently in 5 seconds, but I'm sure it can do it in probably 4.5 if you're like perfectly launching this thing. That's plenty of fast for me. I don't need to be rocket shipping to the moon. So there you have it. This has all the power I need, and I'm not going to get into too much trouble too fast. And some people say, well, that's why you buy a 636 or a Super Sport, like a CBR 600 or a GSX-6R, whatever. That's why you buy that instead of a liter bike. But they're all asinine fast. Leader bike is just going to be, I haven't ridden one yet, so I can't, it's hard for me to imagine. I've been in stupid fast cars, but a motorcycle 0 to 60 feels about twice as fast than a car, even if it's about the same speed you're going, because it's so much more of a visceral experience. Hopefully that made sense. Everything in a motorcycle feels so much more real and alive than a car. All right, so that's why I don't feel like I need tons of speed on a motorcycle or tons of acceleration, because yeah, you're just so much more out in the environment. You're so much more exposed. You're in such great contact with the motorcycle. I don't feel like I need to have gobs of power, gobs of torque, because my senses are already pretty overloaded here without going hyper speed. All right, so let's keep moving. Let's move on to design. So the ZX-6R was redesigned, what, for 2024? Correct me if I'm wrong, or I'll fact check myself. But yeah, it looks all right. I think the ZX4 looks better. Yeah, it looks better. Now, I also think the new CBR 650R might actually look better than my bike. I hate to say, I hate to admit it, but I'd still pick this bike over the Honda. I watched my other video on the the CBR 650R versus the ZX-4RR. Like, this is it, man. This is the perfect super sport style motorcycle for me. But in terms of design, I think Honda might have it beat. But, you know, I think most super sports or sport bike style bikes are really pretty, and the ZX-6R is really pretty. There's no doubt. I just realized I'm probably not going to get the green arrow here ever. But I don't know where this road leads, so hopefully we get a green arrow and we'll go that way, because I honestly have no idea where it goes. Alright, so yeah, the looks of this bike are equal, if not better, to the ZX-6R. It weighs about the same, so again, power to weight ratio is really going to favor the 636, but so is horsepower per dollar. And that's going to lead me into another category. Is when I was considered buying a new bike, I mean, a low displacement 4-cylinder was something I've been waiting years for, but I'm like, man, it's a terrible buy, value buy when you look at, you know, dollar per horsepower. It's a really bad buy compared to so many other bikes out there. That's why I bought the MT-09, because it, at least on paper, it had everything I wanted, and I owned it and didn't like it. It wasn't the right bike for me. But going back to the cost here, so I was looking at this bike versus the ZX6, you got to look at insurance prices too. And the insurance was a lot higher. I don't remember at this point, but it was significantly higher on the ZX-6R versus the ZX-4RR. That just helped me, or convinced me to go with this bike. Now in the state of Florida, you don't need to have motorcycle insurance, but this is there's a nice, it looked like a Triumph Speed 500 or Speed 400. I don't know if it was, but I've always wanted to ride those bikes since they were announced the past year or so. I have no idea where this goes, but that's the great thing about motorcycling. It doesn't matter where you're at. Well, kind of. I couldn't be in Nebraska riding right now where I grew up, but yeah, it's all about the adventure, man. Oh man, there's some nice power line roads there. If I had a dual sport, I would crank on those. Wow, this is pretty. Should we go? Jeez Louise. Oh. It's just so intoxicating because it sounds so good at high RPMs. Jesus. Why would you need a 636, baby, when this thing sounds so good? Oh my dear God. It is. And it can still go fast. That's the thing. Just because it's only got 80 horsepower doesn't mean you can't get pulled over speeding. Like, this thing, a part of the problem is, well, all high revving engines, they just beg the tits out of you to rev their tits off. And it's just, you never want to back off the throttle because it sounds so good, it feels so good, that peakiness. Oh, it's like a shivering experience, or I mean, we could say a bit of a wet experience, depending on how juicy when you make things. Yeah, I guess we're going to this big building here. Oh, there's a Hyatt back here. What the hell? Oh, there's a stop sign. I didn't realize the stop sign was for me. Okay. Oh, they're building something. Oh, what are they building? What are they building over there? Oh, there's a Ritz-Carlton. Sales gallery open. What in the world? Oh, cool. Well, that's what they're doing. They're building maybe some Ritz condos on the beach. That's wild. This place is brand new. Holy cow. That is a 18-story building. I can talk about the last thing here and why I picked this bike as we do this cute little roundabout. The ergonomics here are superior for everyday riding on this bike. These are not clip-ons. This bike is super comfortable for me. Oh my gosh, that building's huge. That is wild. This guy's over here. He's gonna go to the roundabout. I don't know why he's coming over here. I wanted to take a picture with the bike. The ergonomics here, like, I find this bike more comfortable, way more comfortable than my old MT-09. A lot more comfortable than my Grom. Super comfy with where the handles are, where my feet are. It's a really, really, really comfortable experience for me. My legs are up just where I want them to be. Look at this. I'll take a photo so you guys have it. Yeah, great ergos. It's not punishing. I don't like to have... See, I like to be in a squat and having my knees up kind of high and a nice bend in my knee and a nice flexion in my ankle. I like that. It's comfortable for me. It's not going to be comfortable for a lot of people, maybe most people. That's why a lot of people don't ride sport bikes, because they're not comfortable. But where these handlebars are, like in a ZX-6, these things would be down here. My buddy has a Hayabusa and his handles are so much lower. That bike's really comfortable though. The seat is enormous on it. I love this motorcycle. I have zero regrets on why I picked this. I have zero regrets on owning this. I think it's the perfect sport bike for everyday riding, at least for me. It's not for everyone. And if you picked a 636 or a CBR 650R, I think I'd be happy with those bikes too. There's nothing wrong with those. Here's probably a sport bike thing or a motorcycle thing in general. When you put it on the side stand, your fuel gauge does not read the correct fuel, and so you think you're gonna run out of gas real quick. But yeah, this also might get slightly better fuel economy than the ZX-6R, and just slightly. Like, that's one thing about this bike that's slightly disappointing. Oh gosh, and that's a great thing. I don't need to be going crazy speeds on this bike to really enjoy it. The guilty pleasure is a GV60, fully electric. Guilty pleasure of this bike is sharing my joy with you, so I tend to ride it more aggressively when I'm filming. Then if I'm, what are you doing? Jeez Louise, did you really have to get over that much? Holy cow, that scared me. But yeah, I drive it more aggressively when I'm filming, so one, I can hear it on when I'm video editing, and it makes me happy there. But also I love sharing the joy. What the heck was that back there? I don't know where that road went to. I'm gonna have to check that out. Let's check that out. That's what we're gonna finish this video on. This whole area is brand new to me. Alright, so there's this neighborhood back here. I don't care about this neighborhood. This looks like any other Florida neighborhood. Got some reindeer by the crane or the egret, whatever that statue bird is. These are the only twisties we have in Florida. There you have it. But where did that road go back there? Spring Creek. What is this? Man, I love the suspension on this bike too. I have not even set it up for my weight. I just love how it feels. Like, it's super cushy and comfortable, and I'm too big for this bike. I weigh about 200 pounds, 6'1", and throwing it in the turns, it's super stable. It feels like it's just slicing it up when I do have a turn. There are very few here in Florida, but very confidence inspiring in the turns. And then like hitting bumps in this thing, like, it's just a very comfortable suspension. And I have very little bikes to compare it to, but my MT-09, even though they improved the suspension on that for 2024, Pelican's Nest Golf Main. Okay, we're kind of in a golf, well, half of Florida is a golf course, but a golf maintenance facility there. But yeah, like, the suspension on the 24 MT-09 was improved, and it still kind of had like a pogo effect to it. And it was pretty stiff at times. The suspension on the ZX-4RR with these Showa forks, and even the rear suspension piece, I believe, is Showa too. It's just very comfortable experience overall, and the seat is so comfortable. Oh man, Spring Creek Village. No outlet. Well, I figured that since I'm really close to the ocean. Oh, this is weird. There's so many hidden communities in Florida. Oh my gosh, it kind of feels like I'm in Everglades City or something. Very small village. I don't even know if there's a gas station here or a convenience shop. It's just kind of a secluded neighborhood. For sale, Sundance Realty. Oh, it's just empty property. Oh, that's why people live here. It's cheap canal access. So you live on a canal and you can have a boat. So you probably have ocean access through that canal. That makes sense. I get it, it's a lifestyle. It's kind of Florida Keysy. But we should probably end this video and find a gas station. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are between the ZX-6R and the ZX-4RR. I think this is the bike that's better for most people, to be honest. To each his own. I mean, even if I was doing track, there's a black vulture up in that tree. Even if I was doing track riding, I'd pick this over a ZX-6R. Do some more modifications, put a full exhaust on it. I have no desire to do a full exhaust on this bike. In fact, I have a Yoshimura pipe coming in, slip-on, the HE2 coming in for this bike, so stay tuned for that review in comparison against what I have on it now, which is the Kaufman Shorty. Kaufman Classic, I think is what it's called. So anyways, I'm just rambling. I'll see you in the comments. Have a great day. Ride safe out there. Drive safe. Be safe. Whatever you do. Live life. Live long and prosper. Peace out.